Ready? Okay. Good evening, everyone. The time is 7:10 p.m. and we have a quorum present. Announce that we're called to order this city council regular meeting. Ask that everyone please stand for the invocation and for the pledge of allegiance. Bow your heads. Dear Lord, we just thank you for today. We thank you for bringing all of us here together to carry out the city business. Lord, we thank you for our city staff, our council members. We thank you for our residents. We thank you for the visitors. We thank you for those who travel through our streets and highways each day. We ask you to protect us all, give us your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And thank you for all you're going to do. Thank you for what you have been doing in the city of Manor. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, you may be seated. All right. First up, we have an events announcement. Juneteenth celebration, June 19, 2025 at Timmerman Park. Don't see Tracy.
Tracy went to go pick up the food.
Okay,
No worries.
So just a reminder, community, that the event is at Timmerman Park on the 19th from 12 to 8. And there'll be food, music, and other activities present. Moving right along to public comments. Non-agenda item public comments are on the white card. Comments on the white card will be taken from audience members on non-agenda related items. Topics for a length of time not to exceed 3 minutes. Agenda item public comments on yellow card. These comments will be taken from the audience on non-agenda items and agenda items combined for a length of time not to exceed 5 minutes total per person on all items except for public hearings. Comments on public hearing must be made within the item comes before council and not to exceed 2 minutes per person. No action or discussion may be taken on the city council. No action or discussion may be taken by city council during public comments on non-agenda items. All right, we have a full amount of public comments, council. I will get us going. Let's see. First up, we have Ms. April. Is it Liwang? Liwang. Come on.
Good evening, City Council members, Mayor Harvey, and members of the public. My name is April Liwanag, and I've been a resident of Manor for 2.5 years. I live with my husband and 2 children in the Lagos neighborhood, and my oldest child will be starting kindergarten at Lagos Elementary in the fall. I see in the agenda that Chief Phipps will be proposing a new ordinance, and I wanted to thank him for the new ordinance to erect speed limit signs by Lagos Elementary School, and for the city's efforts to make the area safer for students, staff, pedestrians, and the community. I believe that this ordinance is a necessary safety measure as the city continues to grow and the traffic along FM 973 only worsens. I'm also here to comment on a related matter regarding speeding issues within the Lagos neighborhood and to request action from the city to address our speeding concerns. In the 2.5 years that I've lived in the Lagos neighborhood, we frequently observe drivers driving well over the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit. The area is so prone to speeding that there have been 2 accidents on La Pointer Street that I'm aware of. An incident in October 2023 where a driver drove his car into my neighbor's home, and an accident just last week where a speeding car hit a parked car along La Pointer Street. Both incidents occurred during the week in broad daylight and between the hours of 3 and 5 p.m. I should highlight that these drivers drove into a home and a parked car. As a mother, I can't help but worry about the safety of pedestrians in this neighborhood. What if my kids and I were walking along the street during that time? What if a student was biking home from school? I am at the point where I am not comfortable walking my son to and from school due to the dangerous driving conditions around the Lagos neighborhood. I'm sure many other parents feel the same way. Additionally, because our neighborhood is situated between FM 973 and Blake Manor Road, many drivers cut through the Lagos neighborhood, increasing the chance of speeding and traffic-related accidents. From speaking to many neighbors, we believe that speed bumps throughout the neighborhood would be the most effective way to control speeding and to force drivers to respect our traffic laws. Accordingly, we are respectfully requesting that the city come up with solutions to resolve speeding issues in our neighborhood, including but not limited to installing speeding bumps throughout the neighborhood. I appreciate that Public Works Director Matt Woodard and Manor Police Officer Brian Ponce have responded to me about my concerns, but I strongly urge the city to do more. Please help us resolve this issue before anyone gets hurt. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from John Beal.
Public citizens, fellow volunteers, Wilbarger Creek has 11 existing sewage treatment plants and 8 permits for new effluent discharges. Traditional technologies for sewage treatment do not remove chemicals, plastics, pharmaceuticals, sulfates, chlorides, or enough phosphorus. Wilbarger Creek is becoming the most burdened with wastewater in Travis County. Already we have chronic problems of poor water quality, algae, and dead fish floating downstream. I have here 17 new TCEQ permits asking. We signed up in November. We got 17 for all of Travis County. These permits request reclaim and reuse of treated effluent on golf courses and pastures with surface and drip irrigation. All of these are in western Travis County. These permits go on and say, this permit will not authorize a discharge of pollutants into the waters of the state. We want the TCEQ to treat eastern creeks the same as elsewhere. We have begun commenting on every TCEQ permit, wastewater permit in the Wilbarger Creek watershed to raise the standards. The city of Manor has several. We did not start out to do this, but if we do not advocate for this, we would be remiss. We, the Wilbarger Creek Conservation Alliance and Travis County, have created what is becoming the biggest park and open space in Travis County. We did not start out to do this. We wanted to preserve working farms and ranches. But if we do not advocate for this beautiful park, we would be remiss.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Jim Donahue.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Jim Donahue, In 1999, 25 years ago, my wife Diane and I purchased 45 acres from Manor Ranch Ltd. at what is now 15702 Lydic Road, Manor, Texas. When making the decision to purchase that property, the 25 acres, 25 years ago, the 45 acres, the primary issue that got us to say, yes, we'll do the deal, was the deed restrictions. Because in those deed restrictions, there were things that we very much well supported that we couldn't find as we looked all over Travis County to buy property. And I would like to suggest, because on your agenda, there are 3 properties that you're going to be looking at to take into the city of Manor that were once part of Manor Ranches Ltd. And my concern and request to you today is that you will do what is in your power to maintain those deed restrictions, to keep the property in a more positive direction. In the year 2000, about 2001, I bought the property across the street from where y'all used to be officed. There was four commercial lots that now has a laundromat and something else. I bought those 4 properties, the 4 lots, shortly after I bought the ranch because I was going to move my transportation company there and build a facility for it. And I remember at the time, I don't remember the city manager's name, nice gentleman. I remember meeting with him there. And he said at that time there was an interest in expanding the city limits of Manor so that we could keep Austin from trying to take in. And he said, you can help us. And I said, what can I do? He said, because of where your property is out there on Lydic Road, that would allow us to continue this for our extrajudicial jurisdiction. I said, what do you need? He said, a letter. I said, you got it. I wrote him a letter, and I don't know if it was ever used or helped. But anyway, I wanted to be here for you today to ask that you give serious consideration to maintain and keep those deed restrictions. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir. Okay. All of the following, I think they're on, some are on yellow and some are on white cards, will be brought up as non-agenda public comments, and they will be for 3 minutes. These are all related to the venue on FM 1100. And we'll start with Bernard Christensen.
Thank you for letting me speak again. I was here about 2 weeks ago for the last meeting. Last time I was here, I mentioned danger of red lead paint in a building on the land that we're talking about here. Thank you. And the danger that it could be. Red lead is a very dangerous substance. If a person comes in contact with it, it could be dangerous to them. Now, this building that this paint is in is an old gin building. And it has steel beams in it. All of it inside is steel. My father sold the print machinery out of it to a junk dealer in Austin. When he saw the red lead beams, the rest of it, he said, I don't want to buy it. He wouldn't buy it. So he knew what was bad with it. The next other danger is the traffic. Traffic on FM 1100 is more than I have ever seen it. Would not be good idea to have an in and out drive for people in this on this venue or in the building as it's laid out in the graph I have seen doesn't seem to have enough parking there for people, 700 people in cars. Just doesn't look right. The other question, what kind of traffic control would there be to handle that? Both of those things could pose another danger. And I don't know that there's anything going to be said about it other than what I just said. Thank you for letting me be here.
Thank you, sir. Next we have Kim Anderson.
Hi, Mr. Mayor and Council. Thank you for listening to us. I've lived in Manor for 36 years on FM 1100, and it's become very dangerous due to the influx of traffic. People speed and pass regularly. Twice this year, I've almost been hit from behind, turning left into my driveway, and once head on from someone passing over the double line. With the possibility of this venue, and definitely an increase in traffic, will there be a reduction of speed or possibly a traffic light put in? Raising 5 children out in Manor was a privilege, and I felt they were safe. But it's no longer safe to walk, to run, to ride a bike, to ride horseback on a farm to market road. I sadly understand progression. However, I would hope that the owner or the business developer would consider the small children next to the venue. Are there going to be laws put into place for privacy or protection for the families nearby who've built their dream of a life in a rural setting? Could there be a sound barrier put up, a privacy fence, or possibly added to the plans of construction? This last weekend, the venue on Giese definitely crossed the sound ordinance. It wasn't enforced. I live a mile away, and there were many of us in that area that couldn't sleep that night. I hope the city council or the police or the center enforcement will handle these issues. Another issue out there is there's a lot of deer that have been hit this year because the habitat's been taken up, and that's going to create another danger for late night drivers leaving a venue. A venue located in front of the dilapidated old gin, ridden with rats and rattlesnakes, is not real wise, no matter what kind of nice building you put on the land. People are curious, and they're going to venture out into that place in ignorance. Are there any place of restoration for the building on that property, or will the possible guests be protected from probable harm? Growth is inevitable, but I hope that y'all will respect the safety of long-standing residents and the new residents, and that these things would be considered by the city council. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it Marvin Chacon?
Good evening. My name is Marvin Chacon, and I'm here to express my strong concerns regarding the proposed specific use permit for an event center at a 14121 FM 1100. My main concern is the lack of parking spaces. It's an event, so most likely it's going to be a noise until late nights. So it's something that you should reconsider. Is it going to be some sort of addendums for noise restriction or for this facility? We purchased this land in 2018. We moved here. Our idea was to be our retirement home, but I don't think I'm considering to be retiring next to an event place. That is going to be next to my home. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Gail Anderson.
Honorable Mayor Harvey and City Councilman, I'm glad that we have the opportunity to come to speak. I'm Gail Anderson and I live on 1100. I have a question I would like to understand about the ETJ of Manor, that only one person was notified, and that was the neighbor that just spoke, is going to be speaking. I know I've read the rules, but I don't understand them. I do know in the future we will probably be part of the city of Manor. But the problem is we need good growth and healthy growth and good traffic. And as you're going to hear from all of us, the traffic is a huge, huge concern. I do feel that we do need to know more notification if it's possible. I don't know how that amendment could be made, but if possible, you should be able to notify more people when there is a business coming up. I live approximately 1 block from this land, and I think that the Manor Council, y'all, and the city planning, y'all have apparently done a wonderful job. Manor's growing. We couldn't ask for better new amenities than we have now. I went to high school in Elgin, so I guess one day Elgin will get it too, but fortunately Manor has first. So I want to express that my improvements for you are concerns I have. On this amenity, number one, the parking is going to be a major problem because of the ingress and the outgress. Because they're saying they want 570 people there, 500 to 700. If you drove out there, it's a 7-minute drive, and I'd like to invite you to come out to see it and try to cross the intersection of 290 and 1100. There's not a light there, and it's stacked up traffic every day, as you know how it goes through Manor. There can't be another light there because the old Kimbrough Road already has a light, which is a half a mile away. So this is going to cause more problems for the traffic of Manor. And as you know, people complain about the traffic already. As security goes there, it's going to have to be required, and I do not know if this is in your purview to be able to do this, but they are definitely going to have a bartender that knows when to cut off the drink. The dram shot law of Texas is a huge, huge responsibility.
Yes, ma'am.
And you can sue anybody and everybody that's a part of it. So I do concern myself with the people, even if the venue does go in. They're going to have to have extra security and a lot of insurance, because I'm telling you, it is dangerous.
Yes, your 3
The
minutes.
intoxication is the
Intoxication. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Your 3 minutes.
It's the
is up, though.
problem that we are definitely concerned about.
Yes, ma'am.
As you leave that particular property, there is a gully, and then there is a huge double banners on each side now.
Yes,
And the reason it's there,
Your 3 minutes has passed.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I didn't hear you. I'm deaf
all
on one
right.
side.
Yeah.
There has been people that have died there.
What you can leave your comments. I'll
Okay.
make sure I get it from Chief.
I don't have that much. I just want to thank you for your time and your consideration. I really would like for you to come. Carolina subdivision, as y'all know, is just right before us. And people are going to be going through there, and they're not going to be real happy either.
Yes, ma'am.
But thank you very much for considering everything.
Thank you. Let's see. Is it Alondra Carbajal? Okay.
Good evening, Mayor Harvey and council members. First of all, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. My name is Alondra Carvajal. I am standing here on behalf of my family, which is currently in the process of building our dream home near the proposed event center venue of Farm to Market Road 1100. We've had our land for several years since I was in elementary school, and for reference, I am now in college, so it's been a long time. The reason for purchasing it in the first place was because my family and I aspire to build a home in a quiet, peaceful, and safe environment away from the chaos of a large city. Unfortunately, if the permit for the event center is approved, all of these elements mentioned are threatened. Now, I understand that the growth in Manor is bound to happen, which is not what we are opposed of. However, having a large commercial event center in a residential area creates several inconveniences and safety concerns for not just my family, but also for the entire community. Primarily, I am apprehensive about the hundreds of people that will be coming in and out during the weekends, maybe even some weekdays, which could be dangerous, especially under the influence of alcohol, which most weddings or parties serve. As a venue owner, you can't control everything that occurs, meaning that there are possible situations that could put the people who live nearby at risk. Some examples include drunk drivers, which lead to car accidents and maybe even trespassers. Besides these safety issues, the venue will undoubtedly attract a large amount of traffic, especially since there is one two-way road. Furthermore, it will bring a lot of unnecessary, unwanted noise, which again defeats the purpose and peacefulness of living in the countryside. Overall, it will be incredibly unfair that my 3 younger siblings, parents, and I won't be able to feel fully comfortable, relaxed, and safe in our own home because of these reasons. Therefore, I ask that you take all of these problems into consideration before making your final decision on the matter. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Let's see. Erica Lopez? No? Okay. Lucrecio Lopez? Huh?
Yes. No, we signed it, but I can talk with our protest would not agree with everything, so that's what I was doing.
Okay. Tanya Lopez Carbajal?
Good evening, Mayor Harvey and fellow city council members. My name is Tanya Lopez Carvajal. I am also speaking amongst my family members. We reside on 14034 FM 1100. Today, I am here to provide some insight on the culture of our home. The Lopez household has been a place where our family comes together to celebrate lots of holidays and celebrations. It's a place where we escape the loud sounds of the city to enjoy the perfect sunsets and stargazing on fall, cool nights. For these past 5 years, I have come home every weekend from my college town, knowing I would be taking a break from the frat parties next door. Now I worry as a public educator that I will not be able to come home to get a good night's sleep for the next day's work. It's hard to understand how this lot seems fit for this new project, as many of the other people have mentioned their concerns. This beautiful land filled with cornfields, cattle, horses, and many farm animals will no longer be the same if this project follows through. What's at stake is a land where 5+ families reside, where children jump fences to go visit their grandparents and cousins. where people come together and escape the noise, not invited, to escape concrete jungles, not build them. Excuse me.
It's okay.
As a community, we do not want to invite a place of loud music, intoxicated strangers, and vast cars next to homes that represent hard work ethic and slow living. I understand that this location is already commercialized, so I'm here to suggest that the leaders of this project consider something more family friendly and that conserves the integrity and the roots of the land. Thank you for your time and sympathy. God bless.
Thank you. Ms. Kaylee Lopez.
Good evening, Mayor Harvey and City Council members. I'm here today to speak about the proposed venue plans for the property located off Farm to Rock Market Road, 1100. My name is Katie Lopez, and I live near this proposed site. I'm speaking on behalf of my family and myself, as this project directly impacts our lives and the place we call home. The house I live in has been a dream for my family for many years. It represents our I made it moment, a place where we've invested our hearts, hopes, and future. It is my dream to see this home passed down for generations, to bring my own children into the house where I grew up. But with the current plans, I fear the essence of what makes this house our home is at risk. My primary concern regarding the proposed venue is safety and privacy. From my bedroom window, I have an unobstructed view of this property in question. If the venue is built there, I fear that my privacy will be compromised. With over 300 potential visitors regularly attending events, the quiet, private nature of our home will be replaced by constant exposures to strangers. The thought of a large crowd of people, many of whom may be under the influence of alcohol, being so close to my property is unsettling. The idea that people could jump our fences, engage in vandalism, or steal from us is a serious concern. Moreover, having such a venue next door would likely to lead to loud and disruptive behavior. Families in the area would be forced to endure weekend parties and noise, making it nearly impossible to feel at ease in our own homes. The calm, relaxing environment that we currently enjoy would be replaced with chaos, preventing us from feeling safe and secure. A home should be a sanctuary, but this venue would turn ours into a source of constant stress and anxiety. There are also environmental risks. The construction of a large venue could significantly alter the local landscape and disrupt the ecosystem. We frequently see deer and other wildlife passing through the area. With increased traffic and human activity, the natural habitat could be seriously impacted. The road would become more dangerous, not just for residents, but for animals as well. The risk of accidents increases with more people and vehicles, and as a resident of this area, I fear for my safety of my family and the community. In conclusion, while I understand the potential benefits of such a venue, I ask the City Council to carefully consider the long-term consequences this development would have on the safety, privacy, and quality of life for my families like mine. We are not just asking for a yes or a no answer, but for a thoughtful approach that takes into account both the benefits and the risks involved. We love this community and the life we've built here, and we sincerely hope you will take our concerns seriously before making any decisions. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Okay. This concludes the section of public hearings. For public comments. City Council will now move on to public hearings. We have a couple of people here, or two people here lined up to speak for public hearing. We have 5 public hearings, and council, we're going to postpone public hearings 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'll open them, and we will leave them for June the 18th. And so we have one person for items 3 and 4, Mr. Graham. We're going to postpone it to the 18th, and so I want to make sure that you are aware so that you can come in on the 18th for that.
Sir, I'll be out of town that week.
Would you like to speak now and forfeit? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, come on up.
Isn't this great? I mean, it's pretty cool that these folks can come
Actually,
up.
you know what? I have to get to yours. You're on 3 and 4, not 1 and 2. So let me do 1 and 2.
All right.
And then when I call you up on 3.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you, sir. You bet.
Conduct a public hearing on the voluntary annexation of a 25.245 acre tract and a 45.83 acre tract, more or less, being located in Travis County, Texas, and adjacent and contiguous to the city limits. Number 2, conduct a public hearing on a voluntary annexation of a 56.652 acre tract and a 118.76 acre tract, more or less, being located in Travis County, Texas, and adjacent and contiguous to the city limits, providing for an open meeting and other related matters. And number 3, conduct a public hearing on a voluntary annexation of 101.49 acres, more or less, being located in Travis County, Texas, and adjacent and contiguous to the city limits, providing for an open meeting and other related matters. Mr. Graham. And you will have 2 minutes, sir.
2 minutes. I better talk fast. Let me, so I'm opposed to, I'm speaking in opposition to the annexation of this property. And it's not because I'm opposed to the development of it. I'm opposed to the way the developer seems to be going about it. Seems to be a lot of secrecy. They have not protected you as an elected official. They have failed to share or communicate into the community what their plans might be and how those might affect other people. And so that creates distrust. And as an elected official, all you have is trust with your community. And so, Mayor, I apologize for, sending a note and saying, oh my God, somebody's been lying to us. Somebody has been lying, or not, or I don't think lying, but I certainly think trying to, work angles to get what they want. And I get that. When I bought my property, this young lady over here was talking about, she has this property and now somebody's gonna move in and make a bunch of noise. Well, I own 55, 60 acres east of town. And every morning I hear gunshots. And every evening I hear music that I don't like. But you know what? I bought that property knowing those people were gonna shoot guns because there's a gun range. And those people are gonna play music because they like music.
Yeah.
And so my point is, this developer bought some property, and they have told you that they've got this. There's a covenant restriction on it. All of those properties have a covenant restriction. Just because 2 members got together and colluded, said we're gonna sell our property. That's all part of one piece of property. That's just one example. I've only known about this for 2 days, and I have just through conversation uncovered numerous times where there were opportunity to communicate with the public, with the elected officials, you guys, or the public, and they chose not to. That raises a lot of red flags for me, and I hope it raises red flags for you. And you ask some questions, make them do the work to gain the public trust, so you don't have to face a bunch of people yelling at you or being upset with you.
Yes, sir.
Now, I appreciate so much what you all are doing, the time it takes to serve. And I was reflecting on how cool it is that people can come and talk to you about their issues. And I respect that and I appreciate that. I'm going to leave copies of our restrictive covenants. Thank you, sir. And I appreciate your time. Appreciate you listening to me.
Thank you, sir. 4, conduct a public hearing on voluntary annexation of 142 acres more or less being located in Travis County, Texas, and adjacent contiguous to the city limits, providing for an open meeting and other related matters. Number 5, conduct a public hearing on the ordinance rezoning the Manor Heights subdivision being located to the northeast of the intersection of US Highway 290 and Old Highway Kimbrough Road, Manor, Texas. Gotcha. We're leaving it open for the 18th, so we need to we need a motion to leave the public hearing open until June the 18th. Okay, got it.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we open the public hearing for items 1, 2, 3, and 4 and leave it open until our June 18th, 2025 meeting.
Well, motion on the floor to leave the public hearings 1, 2, 3, 4 open until June 18th. Do we have a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Ware. Is there questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Now conduct a public hearing on ordinance rezoning Manor Heights subdivision being located to the northeast of the intersection of US Highway 290 and Old Kimbrough Road, Manor, Texas, from the planned unit development PUD to the planned unit development PUD. Yes, sir.
Mayor, Council, my name is Michael Burrell, Development Services Director for the City of Manor. This item pertains to the PUD amendment for the Manor Heights subdivision, contemplating additions 7 and 8 for the Nagel Estates. It is the addition of 264 lots, if I'm remembering correctly, around 250-ish lots, and it's already been contemplated in the original DA. This is just bringing that to fruition.
Okay, council members, you have any questions?
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing on item. Oh,
No, go ahead. Ask your question before we close it.
I just wanted to know if there were any.
Your mic. Can you use your mic?
Oh, did it?
There you go.
Okay. Can you hear me? Sorry. I was wondering if there were any residents that had any concerns or questions about the transition from the PUD to the PUD.
I did not receive any comments pertaining to that.
Now you can do it.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing on item number 5.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Amesway. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Consent agenda. All the items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion on the items unless requested by the mayor or city council member, in which the item will be removed from consent agenda and separately considered separately. Number 6, consideration, discussion, possible action to approve the city council minutes for May 21st, city council workshop, May 21st, city council regular meeting. Number 7, consideration, discussion, possible action on a public improvement district creation, PID, and administrative services for New Haven with P3 Works LLC. Number 8, consideration, discussion, possible action on the right-of-way agreement from between the city of Manor and Central Texas Regional Mobile Authority for the purpose of conducting environmental investigations for Lot 1, Block H, Greensbury, PHS 1-A, detention pond and drainage, ESMT. Consideration, discussion, possible action on a right-of-way agreement between the City of Manor and the Central Texas Regional Mobility Authority for the purpose of conducting environmental investigations for Lot 7, BA Manor Commons, SE Commercial, PHS 1, Parkland. I would actually like to have a conversation on 7, 8, and 9. And so we can pull those, and then we just do the consent for number 6.
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the consent agenda for item number 6.
We have a motion on the floor for consent agenda number 6, consent agenda item number 6. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilman Moreno. Any question to the motion? No questions to the motion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 7, consideration, discussion, possible action on a public improvement district creation and administrative services agreement with New Haven with P3 Works LLC.
Yes, sir.
Would you like a brief summary, sir?
Oh, I was waiting on you. Go ahead.
Sorry. So that, and haven't opened up my agenda, but just from memory, this is an agreement for the P3 Work Services as your PID advisor, and then as your PID administrator for the New Haven PID. What has transpired is for your previous PIDs that have already been approved, you have had individual agreements for P3 work. So it's per PID, it's not for all your PIDs. So this is a new PID that we've actually already started working on, and they are the ones that provide the drafting of your SAP. And so a draft is in progress already, but they don't have an agreement in place to actually be providing these services under this PID.
Thank you.
Okay.
What are any questions, council members, regarding the item? Any additional questions?
Okay, my one question
Yes,
is, and it's just clarification from what you just said. It's a new PID, but it's still the same PID content from before.
No, this is New Haven PID was actually created by City Council, and now we're in the process of actually going to bond issuance on it. And so P3 has been working on this. They've actually also have had some turnover, so they didn't realize that there was no agreement, so they brought it to the city's attention, and that's why you have this agreement on. So they have been working on the PID. So it's considered a new PID because we've never had a bond issuance on it, but it's already been created.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Being none, I entertain a motion.
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we recommend and approve the Public Improvement District Creation and Administration Services Agreement for New Haven with P3 Works LLC, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement.
Motion on the floor by Councilwoman Ware. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilman Moreno. Any questions to the motion? Any additional questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next, moving to item number 7. I'm sorry, number 8. Consideration, discussion, possible action on the right-of-way agreement between City of Manor and the Central Texas Regional Mobility Authority for the purpose of conducting environmental investigations for Lot 1, Block H, Greenberry, PHS 1A, detention pond and drainage. Yes, sir.
Mayor Council, thank you for again pulling the item for more detail. The item before us is given the total authority and their consultants the right of entry to go in and start studying the environmental pieces for the right of way that's going to be needed for the expansion of 290. And this is just an item because of it being in the right of way and being in the city limits that they require permission from the city to approve for this particular tract.
Any questions, council members?
I'd just like to make a comment that you said the magic word expansion, and I liked that what I heard.
Yeah, I don't want it to be bypassed that this is a process, a feasibility study, environmental study that's going to look at the impact of putting the highway through Manor on 290. And so that's why I wanted to pull it so it wouldn't just kind of breeze past. I know what it's for, but the public doesn't know what it's for. So I want to make sure the public know.
Yeah, it's definitely a long time coming, but we're here.
Yeah.
I would say too, Council, along the corridor, you may see a lot of activity. So again, the permission that you see and the gentleman working is to try to move as quickly as possible. So that way as you see development, you see other permits and stuff that we're working with, it all's going to go hand in hand. So we ask people to be careful when they see those individuals working, which they are safe. And if you roam 290 today, you see TxDOT is still making some improvements going eastbound. So just while they're working, we just ask for people to know that they're doing hopefully a good thing for us in the future, and just be careful when they're passing through the areas.
Yeah. And I mean, what we know is there's 20,000 plus individuals that come through our city at those entry points. If you look on the graph that's there, between there and there, minimum of 20,000 users that navigate through our streets at a minimum, and then get on a toll every single day. There's about 50 to 60,000 people that travel through there, coming from other roads, and we don't know for sure if they're getting on a toll or riding access or going 130 north or south. But we know that it's heavily used, and the highway system will allow for folks that don't want to stop to get through, which would then actually have Manor's traffic be Manor's traffic. So just wanted to make sure we paused and got that on the record for there. Is there a motion on the floor for item number 8?
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the right-of-way agreement between the City of Manor and the Central Texas Regional Mobility Authority for the purpose of conducting environmental investigation for Block H, Greenberry, Phase 1A, detention pond and draining easement, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Moreno. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Wallace. Any questions to the motion? Questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Number 9, consideration, discussion, and possible action on right-of-way agreement between City of Manor and the Central Texas Regional Mobile Authority for the purchase of conducting environmental investigations for Lot 7, Block A, Manor Commons, SC Commercial, PHS 1, Parkland. So is this a continuation of the other authorities' authorizations that they need?
Yes, sir, this is.
Okay. The only thing we can talk about on last item is the cost is being completely absorbed by the entity, and so when is it still at that $5 million?
Yes, sir. I think so. For the record, for people to know and watching and those in the audience, the total authority has committed, I think, $5 million to do the study between the City of Manor and the City of Elgin, and that's going to require maybe another round of funding for next year, which will do more of the schematic design. And so those that live on 1100 and all the other areas, there will be future meetings that we can talk about the different areas of concern and the traffic count and the traffic incidents. So for those that are in attendance for the 1100 residents and those along Old Kimbrough and anywhere else along the 290 corridor, we will have public meetings and engagement. So what happened 20 years ago, we hopefully won't let happen again this time around, to make sure the public input and the city council will have the final say and the final voice for what improvements will be made for the city. And so we want to make sure those residents on the corridor will have a chance to come and share your input, because it's going to impact us all, but those that immediately have concerns now, we'll be working to make sure those concerns are addressed with your input.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? I'll take a motion.
Mayor Council would like to make a motion that we approve the right-of-way agreement between the City of Manor and Central Texas Regional Mobility Authority for the purpose of conducting environmental investigation for Lot 7, Block A, Manor Commons, Southeast Commercial, Phase 1, Parkland, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilmember Moreno. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Weir. Any questions to the motion? Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. All right. We'll now move on to our regular agenda items. Number 10, consideration, discussion, and possible action on ordinance authorizing and directing installation of erection of speed control signs for the zoning of traffic and rate of speed therein on FM 973 in the city limits of Maine, defining speeding and fixing a penalty therefore, declaring what may be a sufficient complaint in prosecution hereunder, providing for an effective date, saving servability and open meetings clauses, and providing for related matters. Chief Phipps.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is a ordinance authorizing TxDOT to install a much needed school zone for the Lagos Elementary School between the Lagos neighborhood and the Wild Horse Creek neighborhood. Much needed. We know that the traffic down there is pretty intense, and we have commuters in the morning that are eager to get to work. And so this ordinance will authorize the placement of the school zone and authorize enforcement of the school zone.
Questions, comments, council members?
I just want to say thank you very much.
Mr. Moore worked on this as well. It was a team effort. So
I've been screaming about it since they put the school there, and now that there's going to be a business across the shopping strip across the street, it's a very big concern for kids. And with there being sometimes a lack of bus drivers, if they are to make the kids from that whole area walk, we need to have their safety protected.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I mean, those y'all have been here around since 2019. Has been, we got held up with the COVID stuff, and so we were able to get a lot of things out there, but then we had some stops in the process. So thank you all for continuing to work and getting all the other parties around to invest. So I entertain a motion.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve ordinance number 789, authorizing and directing the installation and erection of speed control signs for the zoning of traffic and rate of speed therein on FM 973 in the city limits of Manor, defining speed and fixing a penalty, therefore declaring what may be a sufficient complaint and persecution thereunder, providing for an effective date, saving servability and open meetings clause, and providing for related matters.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second? I'm sorry, Councilwoman Weir. You did all the rest of them, say names in my head. Councilwoman Weir, is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Wallace. I knew he was going to do it. All in favor?
Oh, would you like any questions to the motion?
Second.
Would you like any questions to the motion?
Do you have a question about the motion? Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to know if it was going to be like the flashing lights or an actual, or just a sign.
It is my understanding, due to DOT requirements and the speed limit that's on the roadway, that it will have to have the flashing yellow lights for the sign. That is completely up to TxDOT and the requirements adopted under the Department of Transportation. But it is my understanding that due to the speed limit, there will have to be the flashing yellow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sirs. All right. Let's see where we at. Item number 11, consideration, discussion, and possible action on a statement of work. Number 19, to the master service agreement with George Butler Associates, Inc. for engineering services for the Main downtown drainage study.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So I'm bringing before you tonight a revised scope and fee proposal for this project. Initially, we had assembled a comprehensive look at the downtown. I'll give them a sec to drive by. At the downtown drainage systems to address some of the challenges that are currently faced within the current area right around here. Looking at potential solutions for conveyance out to the Gilliland and Wilbarger Creek basins from the downtown area. After meeting with the committee last week, the Capital Committee and city staff, we've revised the scope and fee substantially. By eliminating the last three proposed items, the fee amount was reduced from, well, it was a range before anywhere between $236,000 and $339,000 to about $153,000 for the first four tasks. So what this proposal will do will still provide the assemblage of all the information, creation of the mapping, assessment of the current conveyances, sizing of proposed conveyances that would be necessary to be able to convey the water out of town, as well as capital project lists and estimates for that in general terms. So it's still a full look at that. What it doesn't include is a regional detention component piece or an early release evaluation, or the community involvement aspect that was a part of that as well too.
Let's see.
Frank, has the community been made aware of these plans?
So
people
we
along that
talked
it would
about
affect? Yeah.
city staff taking on that piece. We would still provide, exhibits and so forth for any community involvement events, but instead of it being coordinated through our office, it would be just done through city staff for any public involvement and public, workshops and that sort of thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, just a way to reduce cost.
Well, we did a downtown overlay TERS for that area. Are we already receiving funds to fund this project since this is about downtown, or are we paying before those features actually come in?
So the majority of this project is actually being funded through a budgetary item that was part of the street and drainage budgets previously. I think it was around $136,000 was the original amount, and then that was for this year, and then next year was going to cover the cost of any remainder of that. It is also a project that could potentially be funded through the collected drainage fees with the new drainage fee ordinance that's in place. So there is identified funding for it already through budget items, but it also could be funded through drainage. It wasn't considered as part of the TERS.
Well, and the reason I'm asking is because I do understand that we can budget for things, but since we did create the TERS to go overlay, and we talked about the amount of money that was going to come in, and that amount of money was specifically designed to do the study and to fix drainage issues downtown. Just my wonder is, why won't we use that pool? Because then that $153,000 that was budgeted for this could then be utilized somewhere else or be used as savings.
And that's really a fiscal policy decision. I don't know if Matt or Mr. Moore has a perspective on that. I mean, it can be paid for.
I guess the question is, when does the money come in from the TERS? Okay, so what's the can this wait until the end of the year when the TERS money is collected?
Yep. I mean, it's really a question of the city's objectives on coming up with solutions for getting the stormwater out of town.
Well, that's my question. If we, like I said, if we create a financial tool to take care of a certain part of town, why wouldn't we wait for that tool to kick in so we can take care of that part of town?
Yeah, I mean that's totally at council's discretion and staff's discretion. So, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Mayor, Council. I just want to, I appreciate you, kind of bringing up the TERS kind of funding as well. Well, we do actually have a budget amount this year for it.
Mm-hmm.
We do have the drainage fee for that project too. It's totally up to y'all if y'all want to do it now or later. I just know with the development that's coming in downtown, it would be a good tool to have. And then so we can plan accordingly when these new buildings come in. We can actually say, okay, this is actually your true slope that you need. This is what the kind of runoff is going to be. So, but to your answer, if you're wanting to wait, that's totally up to y'all.
One note on that as well too is that this is really the first blush. What will come out of this is a list of projects, and the projects are going to require significant capital to be constructed.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the very inception of what will be an ongoing process for a number of years.
Other questions, comments, council members?
I do like the idea of the tourist overlay being part of maybe the funding part, if that's possible. I think that'll help, and maybe because I do sit on that committee, and so for the drainage fees and our other fees that we have, if that allows that to be my goodness, why am I good? If that allows that to be go to something else, to another project, to give us money in that capacity or that space, then okay. Or yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, to your question, I think I know what you're trying to say is that those funds could be used to do more repairs. That's what I always hear too. So yes, I'd love to have as much funds as we can to do the repairs that we need.
Yeah. Other questions, comments?
If it was if we were to wait to use the TERS at the end of the year, is that a postpone to this item or just how do we?
I believe we could approve with an amendment to look at a different funding source, give staff direction on that. So the amendment would be the direction to staff to utilize TERS funding after dollars are collected.
Yeah, if the amendment was approved, we could just wait for issuance of a notice to proceed until the funding's available.
Any other questions, comments? I'll take a motion. I'll entertain more questions or a motion.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the statement of work number 19 to the master services agreement with George Butler Associates Incorporated for engineering services for the Manor Downtown Drainage Study project and pursue, oh wait, I can put in the amount of $153,226 and approve with search for additional funding sources.
We have a motion on the floor for by where are you pointing at? Oh.
And direct staff, direct staff to pursue other funding sources.
I think we should be specific of the funding source.
Oh, the TERS overlay, downtown overlay.
Well, motion on the floor by Councilwoman Hill. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Wallace. Any questions to the motion? Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? The motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving right along to item number 12, consideration, discussion, and possible action on a commercial sign variance to the city's site development code for St. David's Emergency Medical Facility. I believe we have a presentation. Ms. April Brown.
Is there a clicker or did I just?
And council members, while that's getting set up, we wanted to invite St. David's to come in and do a presentation. Not just because they're doing a sign, but because they're actually coming into the community. And you know, when we've had our conversations about adequate health care and having a space where people can go and get their emergencies taken care of and not have to be shuttled all around Travis County, East West Travis County, Williamson County for medical needs. We're excited about this facility coming and the high quality care that'll be able to be provided to our residents or anyone else, technically, east all the way down, down 290, because this will be a closer facility with high quality care. So they graciously agreed and are here tonight to just kind of talk more about the facility, the design, and then we can get into the sign piece and why. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, City Manager, and Council. My name is April Romero Brown, and I'm here on behalf of St. David's to share some information about the emergency department that is currently under construction on US 290. I'm sure y'all pass it all the time. And to ask for y'all support for a sign variance for an emergency wayfinding sign. I'm joined tonight by a few members of the St. David's team who y'all will hear from here shortly. But before we get into that, I want to give a quick overview about the sign variance request. We are here under item number 12 on your agenda. We're seeking a commercial sign variance to install one 40-foot tall sign that is 160 square feet along 290 just west of Greg Manor. The requested design that you see in your backup matches the signs that St. David's uses for other emergency departments, including the one in Bastrop, which we will show you here later. And most importantly, this design offers improved visibility and aids in the wayfinding efforts using an efficient but effective design. We're proposing this sign to help people who are looking for medical care in often critical situations. The larger design exists to assist drivers seeking emergency care. These drivers are often under increased stress. We all know from our own experience, even if it's something as small as trying to find your keys when you're already late, being under that time pressure and under stress can impact our decision making, our reaction time, and even our ability to see things that may be in plain sight. And excuse me, and as we'll show in our presentation, the visual environment along 290, as y'all are well aware, is congested with utility poles and other signage and upcoming construction. And the majority of patients come in during off-peak traffic hours where traffic is flowing very freely and drivers under time-sensitive pressure are often traveling at high rates of speed. So in moments where someone is experiencing a heart attack or has a head injury or has a severe laceration, every missed turn, every moment matters a lot. And so not every patient that comes into this facility will be in that kind of a critical situation, but we have to plan for the unfortunate instances where that will be the case. And the last point here that we'll discuss when we get into the details of it is that the proposed sign prioritizes efficiency while still remaining under the industry recommendations because we found a way to prioritize the visibility of it without going overboard on the sign size. Before we get into the calculations that we put into this proposal, I'm going to turn it over to the St. David's team, starting with Rachel Sloan, who is our VP of Operations.
Hello again.
Hello.
Hi, Rachel Sloan, VP of Operations at St. David's, Maine.
Mr. Mayor and council members, my name is Sean Lewis. I'm the Administrative Director of Emergency Services for St. David's Medical Center. So just to kind of get into one reason why we chose Manor to bring our next facility to and to provide emergency care for this facility is, as you know, you've had a large increase in population from 2020 to 2025. Looks like it's been about 56%. Your nearest emergency room, true emergency room, board certified physicians, is a minimum, am I coming through okay? Yeah. Is a minimum of 15, 25-minute drive, anywhere from 10 to 12 miles away. So that's why we chose here to choose to put an emergency department. This facility is projected to treat between 8,000 and 10,000 emergencies of this community in the first year that we open. It's going to be the first 24/7 true emergency department staffed by board certified emergency physicians and nurses, not like the urgent cares or other types of emergency rooms that you'll find around the area. We are also a facility that accepts Medicare and Medicaid, so we serve the older population as well. As far as what we will provide for the community here, emergency care for strokes, heart attacks, traumas, car accidents, broken bones, sports injuries, you name it, we're going to be able to treat it. We admit at our main facility approximately 26% of all of our patients that we see every single day. Our average volume at St. David's, Maine is about 130 patients per day, with our busiest days being about 160 or so patients. Of those patients, the majority of them get discharged home. So we will be able to provide the same service here. And then if there's any patients that do require admissions, then we'll be able to get them to our main facility, where we'll ensure that they get the same level of clinical excellence and support here as they do at our main campus. Is there any questions that you have for me?
Thank you. So now that y'all have a sense for the quality and the level of care that will be provided at this facility, we also want to show some renderings of what the facility is going to look like once it's finished. So you can't see from this angle, but around the back is where the ambulances will be received, so that patients can either be treated fully or stabilized for transfer, like you just heard Sean explain. And here is a rendering of what the interior of the waiting room will look like. You'll see there that this is designed for Kyle, which is a little bit further along in the design stage. So there will be some small differences, but this is the look and feel of the St. David's emergency departments. Okay, so now we'll get into the nitty gritty and what's necessitating the sign variance. So this is the view traveling westbound on 290, which is about 500 feet from the intersection with Greg Manor. The red circle that you see there is the area in which the sign will be placed. You can see the visual environment is cluttered, it's congested, there's utility lines, there are traffic poles, and seeing a sign there across multiple lanes of traffic could prove to be challenging, especially if drivers are going 50, 60, and in situations like this, even faster. Drivers traveling westbound would need to see the sign and maneuver potentially across multiple traffic lanes to get into the left lane. And as the road is designed now, if they miss this turn here at Greg Manor, they would need to travel down over a mile to do a safe U-turn down at Parmer. This view is coming from the opposite direction. This is eastbound on US 290. This is about 500 feet from where the sign is proposed to be. This is morning hours as the sun is rising. So as you can see, the glare makes visibility even tougher than it would be when the sun is up above you and is not obstructing the view or impacting the view. We'll come back to this vantage point later to show you guys what the sign might look like in a situation like this. Before we get there, I want to talk about some of the data and the research that was used to put together the proposal that's in front of you tonight. So in your backup, you will find some excerpts from the United States Sign Council, or USSC's best practice standards for on-premise signs. Those pages are a few out of a 72-page guidebook that give an overview of some of the calculations that go into their recommendations. Essentially, they tie their sign size and height into viewer reaction calculations. Oh, sorry. So you can see there on the sign to the all the way over to the right, the research averages that they use recommend 242 square feet for signs that are along roadways where traffic is traveling 55 miles an hour. That's a pretty big sign. So our team went through some exercises calculating the viewer reaction distances to see what kind of design was possible that would still provide the needed visibility for emergency situations. The result is a design that is over a third smaller than what this recommendation is. So without getting too far into the weeds, in case you are interested, I'm going to put up some of the calculations that we used here for our proposal. The USSC came up with some averages across all of their roadways, and so here viewer reaction times is the time that is needed for deceleration, for braking, for changing lanes. That's further impacted by your traffic volume, by your number of lanes, and your speeds. So if you're going to the emergency department from the westbound lanes, you would need to maneuver before the sign. So you need a little bit more of a lead time to see the sign and make that safe maneuver. And if you're going eastbound, you have an option pre and post sign to get into the emergency department parking lot. So you need a little bit less time. But here under road conditions, US 290 is classified as a multi-lane environment. So you can see that the average reaction times are there at 11 seconds and 5 seconds. I also want to note these are minimums. These are used with roadways with speeds as low as 35 miles an hour, but we still wanted to use these conservative averages to calculate the minimum sign distance and viewer reaction time. So on the screen, you can see the formula that we used there. We calculated it for both 50 miles an hour and 60 miles an hour. We used feet per second plus the average viewer reaction time, and then you see 808.5 feet and 970 feet. What this is showing you, in other words, is that 800 to 1,000 feet is the minimum distance at which a westbound driver would need to be able to see the sign to be able to maneuver safely. So with that in mind, our engineers put together this proposal, the one that is before you in your backup. This design allows the emergency symbol to be seen from 1,000 feet, and the sign, the words emergency center are fully legible from 600 feet. It's a little tough to see the specs on the screen there, but this is a 10 by 16 foot sign, so that gives you the 160 square feet. This is a little tough to conceptualize, so I wanted to give an example. This is an existing sign in Bastrop. This is what has already been installed for the St. David's Emergency Department that is in Bastrop, and this is from about 500 feet. So this is what it looks like for drivers that are looking for that sign. Now, I want to point out that sign is a little further set back from the right-of-way than what we are hoping to get here in Manor, but this gives you a sense for what it looks like on the ground. Here, our sign team put together some rough renderings of what the sign might look like from 600 and 300 feet. For some context, we reached out to Bluebonnet Electric, and they let us know that the poles in this area are between 35 and 40 feet, so the sign would be about on par with the utility poles that you see in the photos. And it's tough to see, and you might be able to see it more clearly in your backup, but on the map, there is a little red line on the northwest corner of that map. That's the proposed area that we are suggesting for the sign. Now, we haven't figured out the exact location yet, because if we were to get this variance, we would then need to work with the utility and with city staff to make sure that we are meeting clearance requirements, to make sure we're not encroaching in the right-of-way, and to make sure that we are accounting for lane expansions along Greg Manor and US 290. The last thing that I'll note before I close here is, as y'all discussed today, CTRMA is looking at expanding 290. As we see at Parmer, that does include overpasses, which then leads to obstructions for people who are on the service road. So that's another reason the height is something that we're asking for. We don't know yet what those designs might look like, but we're trying to mitigate any possible impacts from people that are coming westbound, trying to look for the emergency department. That was a lot of information, so just to give a quick recap, this is going to be the first 24/7 medical facility in the city of Manor. It's going to be staffed, as you heard from Sean, with board certified and trauma certified physicians and nurses that can handle a range of injuries and critical needs. We understand the need to regulate commercial signs in communities. The reason we're here asking for this variance is because people looking for this sign in particular are often in very different situations than someone who might be looking for a store or a commercial service. They are often facing critical and very time-sensitive situations, which increase their stress levels and, as we discussed, impacts their decision-making and their reaction time. Our goal with this variance and with this emergency department is to make some of the most stressful situations that someone may find themselves in a little bit easier, a little more navigable, and we used industry research data to put the proposal in front of you that you see tonight. As you all know better than anyone, this city is growing quickly, and so are the needs for healthcare access. So St. David's is recognizing that need. We're excited to come to Manor. We're very much looking forward to serving this community and the communities around Manor. I greatly appreciate you taking the time to let us present to you tonight, and I ask for your support on item 12. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Burrell? What? I'm sorry. Did any of y'all have questions for her or before we bring up Mr. Burrell?
I think my only question is there any leeway between having a 40-foot that would still be okay? I mean,
Sure.
Ideal.
Yes, yeah. I mean, the visibility is the top priority, so the sign area is a top priority. We are flexible if 35 feet is what is more reasonable to council. We are very much open to that. Like I said, we just don't know the design that was going to come with the 290 overpasses, so we were trying to mitigate for that. But the sign area is the top priority. So if council would prefer for us to give on the height, we are willing to do that.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, Council, my name is Michael Burrell, Development Services Director for the City of Manor. As the presentation that was just shown to you indicates, this is a request for variance for our site development code pertaining to the sign for St. David's Medical Center. Currently, standard code allows for a 30-foot sign, and based on the street frontage of we're typically nicer in that regard. We use your longest side. That would allow them to have a 96 square foot sign. The staff recommendation to continue with that course came from the existing utilities overhead, the height issues that may occur with it, along with the contemplation of traffic during peak times. As we all know, we are a very backed up city. It would not seem to be difficult to see that sign when you're bumper to bumper at 3 o'clock to 6:37, whenever traffic ends, going either way on 290. And that was the primary reasoning behind the current recommendation from staff.
Questions, council members?
How tall is the Ford sign?
That came before the current sign code in place. The reason, if you notice, their sign hasn't been repaired, it's because if the cost of repairs exceeds 50% of the value of the sign, they have to bring it into compliance. And in that sense, they would have to remove one because they're not supposed to have two. And they'd have to lower the height.
But that one's over 40 feet, or is that about the same?
I'd say 40 to 50 feet around there. It's a very tall sign.
It seemed like it aligned with the poles. So, okay.
Would it be okay to meet in the middle at the 35? If ours, they want 40.
I'm fine proceeding with however council deems fit.
Are you asking St. David's if 35 would work?
She already said that that would be fine.
Okay.
Because Councilmember Hill asked her already.
I think probably the only thing that you're going to have to look at is when they do expand, and if they do a double deck on US 290, they're going to look at 18-foot clear height for your second deck underneath, and so you're going to be at probably, your rails are going to be at 24, and so you're going to need to be above that for signage for you to be able to view. And so probably 35 would work if they're acceptable of that.
And we would also, of course, take into consideration location of existing easements, both below ground and above, to ensure that there's no issues.
Other questions?
Are there in lieu fees for this or in lieu actions when you change the outside of this variant?
Are you asking, is there an additional fee for requesting the variance?
Yeah.
There is not currently, but if you would like to provide that direction, we can certainly contemplate adding it to our fee schedule.
I guess Ms. Brown, if you can come up real fast. Have y'all since been able to, I guess, look at other placements in regards to that, where you could have the sign at the desired height, but not as close to the frontage?
Yeah, we are open to whatever, if city staff prefers for it to be set further back, we are open to that. Part of the reason we haven't set a location is because the sign height will determine what we need in terms of the utility clearances. So it's tough to know that until we know how tall and how close we might be to those utility lines. But if council and staff prefers for us to be set farther back, then we're happy to have those conversations before we actually put in the permit to build it.
Okay. Is that inside or outside? It's on the inside of the sidewalk, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
We're not looking to encroach on the right of way at all.
Yeah. It's on the inside of the sidewalk, but the outside of the utility poles. Is that how it lines up?
No, I think the proposal is inside of the utility poles.
Okay, so
Yeah, the renderings are rough and it's hard to see with that. It was tough to make their program work with the snippets, but we're looking to be inside of the utility poles, so they'll be behind the lines and inside of the sidewalk.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions, council members?
Mayor, Council, would it be possible to table this item for a moment? Veronica has a potential discovery that she's looking into our code of ordinances for before we proceed.
Okay. We need a motion for that. I'll just table it. Yeah, we need a motion to table it, come back to it. Let's see where we at right now. We're on item 12. We'll come back before we go to executive session. Or unless you let me know y'all ready. Okay.
Mayor and Council, I'd like to make a motion that we table this item.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Councilwoman Mesquite. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. We'll come back to it. All right. Let's move on to number, let's see, 13, 14, 15, and 16. 13, 14, 15, 16. Those four we will, we need motions to push those to June 18th. So I need to read it and then take a motion for that. First reading, consideration, discussion, and possible action on ordinance annexing 25.245 acres of tract and a 45.838 acre tract, more or less, being located in Travis County, Texas, adjacent contiguous to the city limits, providing for an open meeting and other related matters. Is there a motion on the floor?
Mayor and Council would like to make a motion that we postpone item number.
Second, I can do them all. Oh, okay. Thank you. Number 14, First reading, consideration, discussion, and possible action on ordinance annexing 56.652 acre tract and a 118.76 acre tract, more or less being located in Travis County, Texas, and adjacent to and contiguous to the city limits, providing for an open meeting, other related items. Number 15, consideration, discussion, possible action on ordinance annexing 161.49 acres, more or less being located in Texas, Travis County, Texas, and adjacent and contiguous to the city limits, providing for an open meeting and other related matters. And then number 16, consideration, discussion, possible action on ordinance annexing 142 acres, more or less, being located in Travis County, Texas, and adjacent and contiguous to the city limits, providing for an open meeting and related matters. We have a motion for items 13 through 16.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we postpone items number 13, 14, 15, and 16 until our June 18th meeting.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Weir. Any questions to the motion? No questions to the motion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. First reading, consideration, discussion, possible action on an ordinance rezoning Manor Heights subdivision being located to the northeast of the intersection of US Highway 290 and Old Kimbrough Road, Manor, Texas, planned unit development PUD to planned unit development PUD. Are there any questions about this item, council members?
Were all the residents, were they notified that it was going to go from a PUD to a PUD? Was that necessary?
For any zoning or certain subdivision processes, we have to send notices to property owners within 300 feet. So anyone within that specific range would have been notified.
Additional questions? Entertain a motion.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the first reading of an ordinance amending ordinance number 534 and ordinance 721 to modify the planned unit development land use plan for the Manor Heights development, rezoning from planned unit development PUD to planned unit development PUD with the proper phasing depiction on the map being located to the northeast of the intersection of US Highway 290 and Old Kimbrough Road, Manor, Texas.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Weir. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Wallace. Any questions to the motion? Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Moving right along to item number 18. Consider discussion possible action on a memorandum of understanding agreement between the City of Manor and Pflugerville ISD, Pflugerville Independent School District, PEF ISD. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Tracy Vasquez, HR Director here with the City of Manor. This is going to mark our third year of collaboration with the Pflugerville ISD, which enhances its workforce by participating in the Skilled Trades Consortium. This is under the leadership of the Pflugerville ISD CTE Director. This academy has expanded its reach to include our students, Manor ISD, and while forging partnerships with prominent local businesses like Manor ISD, EPCOR, Crossroads, TRWA, etc. The project has garnered plenty of attention over the past 3 years, being featured on KView, and we are still currently eligible for the EPA grant, which continued education on one of our current employees that came from the skilled trades last year.
You want to highlight the our expectations in the MOU?
So our participation within the MOU is basically HR goes over, assists with teaching them how to do interviews, what we're looking for on applications, resumes, what type of questions they're going to be asked. We kind of get them through their first interview process to know how it goes. Then they also tour our wastewater treatment plant, and that's been done since day one as well.
All right. Any questions, council members?
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the MOU agreement between the City of Manor and Pflugerville Independent School District and authorize the city manager to execute the MOU agreement.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Mesmer. Any questions to the motion? Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. We still waiting? We good? Okay. We're going to go back to item number 12, consideration, discussion, and possible action on a commercial sign variance to the city site development code for St. David's Emergency Medical Facility. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, council members, Veronica Rivera, Assistant City Attorney. I would like to request if y'all could assist me with this, is going into executive session on this item, and then we can come back and you can take action after that.
Okay. Let's see. All right. The City Council will now convene into executive session pursuant to provisions of Chapter 551 Texas Government Code and return back in a few. Time is 9:05 p.m. City Council now reconvene into open session pursuant to the provisions of Chapter 551 Texas Government Code. And we're going to go back to item number 12, consideration, discussion, possible action on commercial sign variance to the city's site development code for St. David's Emergency Medical Facility. Team, we're going to need to bring that item back based off of legal counsel on June 18th. Can we get a motion for that?
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we postpone item number 12 until the June 18th meeting.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilman Moreno, and staff. We're just, we're directing you to follow that the guidance so that I can get there. Any questions to the motion? No questions. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. And if you all have questions, you can definitely talk to our legal counsel there. Let's see. Moving forward, item number 19, consideration, discussion, and possible action on amendment to the City of Manor, Texas Public Improvement District policy. Yes, sir, Mr. Moore. Table that? Okay. We'll come back to that one. Get a motion to table that.
I'd like to make a motion that we table item number 19.
Do I have a motion to table item number 19 by Councilwoman Wallace? Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilman Moreno. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Let's jump down to item number 21 then. And okay, well then. All right, well. Now, we'll probably need that for that. Yeah, we're just going executive, do all the executive stuff, and then we'll finish those 3 items and come back. City Council will not convene to executive session pursuant to the provisions of Chapter 551 Texas Government Code, in accordance with the authority contained in. All right. City Council will now reconvene to open session pursuant to the provisions of Texas Code, Chapter 551, Texas Government Code. Is there a motion to postpone item number 19 to June 18th? No, postpone item number 19 to June 18th.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mayor Council would like to make a motion that we postpone item number 19 to June 18th.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Moreno, a second by Councilwoman Weir. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Number 20, consideration, discussion, possible action on a letter of intent to participate in Travis County Community Development Block Grant and home investment partnerships. Yes, sir.
Mayor, Council, the item before you is the city's opportunity to participate with Travis County, a lot of the other smaller cities. And in the past, we've been asked every 3 years if the city would participate. I think we were asked in 2022, and now we've been asked again in 2025 if the city would be interested in participating in the program, which falls under the CDBG grant process. Since we don't have an official grant writer to pursue CDBG grants, the 2 categories that I think that are high on the county's list is infrastructure and housing. And I think the county is going to move toward the home program. And I think that's a program that helps the older part of the city qualify for some assistance. I think like the Kerry Manor property over off of Kerry Manor. I think that was a project, a home that participated and received assistance from the county some years ago. And I think this would be an opportunity for us if we were to sign up for this. We can get out in time, but right now there are missed opportunities for us to maybe look at doing some of the older homes if they qualify for the home assistance, window siding, and have residency that we're trying to bring some resources here to help them. And I think that would be one encouraging thing I would say if we participate is that we can identify several properties that could qualify and allow those families to see we're not just letting it go another 3 years without participating in the program that can assist them.
So I guess my question is, if we move in this direction, we're not able to apply for CDBGs for the next 3 years.
That's CDBG, and I think the allotment for the county is about 1.6 million. So if we did it on our own, and like we did with Congressman Cassar, you can qualify, you can submit, but there's so much money that's going to go around, so we're not going to always get picked every year. So about the time this goes around, you'd be in a position in 3 years to say, do we want to participate or do we want to go again? Because they say the average time for each application is about 2 years. So if we have a project submitted here in 25, they may not see anything till late 26, 27 to get funded and everything. Just the way the cycles work and how the reviews go. But I think it just at least would get us a head start on some properties that could benefit from our participation.
Which of these cities are east of 35?
I think we're the only one. I think everyone else is signed up. BK's, Jonestown. But a lot of it too depends on census tracts. So a lot of those communities don't have some of the areas like we do. We have some census tracts, as they call it, in the CDBG process. In the CDBG world, that we have a couple of tracts that would definitely meet the income, the survey guidelines, and that 51%.
Would they still allow us to do it, considering the letter of intent?
Yeah, they're waiting on us.
Okay.
They waited patiently, and so I told them we were meeting today, and so they said as soon as they can get our information as of today, June 4th, it would get submitted with the other cities.
Okay.
Mr. Moore, would the county administer the program? It would be them. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And again, I think it would require the residents to know if we're participating, like you said, they can make a phone call and say, hey, by the way, our city signed up for this. Now can we get some consideration? But we'd have to have a successful application submitted, and that's what would be done through the county to make sure there's a successful application completed and turned in. Yes, ma'am.
So they already are under, the president of the CDBG home offices are operating under the CON plan, which covers 24 to 2028.
Yes, sir.
And that's where you got the information. They're not doing community services or public services.
Right. Yeah, I think they focus more on infrastructure and the housing piece. Because I think that was the greatest need when they did that assessment, that survey some years ago. That was where more cities were leaning toward infrastructure and the rehab of homes.
Okay, I think my question is, if this is going to be run by the county and we sign or get involved in this program, is there a way to say that some of this money is actually going to come to the city, or is it just going to stay within the county?
They will, based on the information I did request a presentation, so that way the group that oversees this program can come to the council and we can ask questions, because this will be our first time as a group participating, so we can definitely ask all the questions to make sure we get get answers to our questions without us being misleading our residents of how does it work, and then we can establish that line of contact with the county and the application process and what criteria those residents will be able to apply for those different CDBG funds.
Okay, because that's my concern, is that
Well, it says here that Councilwoman Wallace, I was looking down, I think it was page 6. It says that it is possible the county would manage the project based on the complexity. However, the decision can be made on case by case about the city managing it.
Mm-hmm.
So in the application process, if it's something that's manageable by the city, then there's an opportunity for the city to request that. But it says if it's very complex, the complexity of the program might lend for the county to have to manage it. And they also say in the area above that we have not had a participating city apply for funding to date.
Okay.
So there's money that's out there waiting to be applied for based off of this statement.
Right. And also, I think if you look at the county, and like I said, you look at all the census tracts, I think Manor has a lot of potential. Once they come out and do that assessment, we can say they have a map to show, and then we can go and have all those residents say, if you want to participate, here are the list of things you can participate in, and then allow them to say yes or no, and then that way we've done our part to bring the resources to them. And I think that's why the county is really interested in us applying, because no one else has applied. So I think there's a likely good chance that anyone from Maynard apply would get the funding they need for their particular project or application.
Other questions, council members? And so it looks like the last opportunity for spending the money is September 2026, based off of the federal fiscal year, because that runs October to September, like us as well. Any questions, council members? If not, I entertain a motion.
Mayor, council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve a letter of intent to participate in the Travis County Community Development Block Grant and Home Investment Partnerships Program, and authorize the mayor to sign the letter.
We have a motion on the floor. We have a motion on the floor by Councilmember Rainer. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Ware. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. All right. Number 21, consideration, discussion, possible action regarding appointment of members to the Charter Review Commission. Every 2 years, we gotta look at our charter, everyone, and it's about that time to look and see if there's some things you want to add and take away. And we need to decide how we want to give direction for staff regarding appointing members. I think in the past we did P and Z. Is that right? Who did we have? We had somebody. We did have P and Z, and then we ended up reviewing the charter ourselves. Huh? Who was it? It wasn't P and Z? It was just random residents? Okay. I don't know why I thought it was P and Z. I might be getting confused with something else. Okay. So we we selected residents that came in, reviewed it, made recommendations, and then we they brought that to us, and then we had our own series of meetings to look at the charter, and then that's what we took to the public. Yeah, that's what the charter language says right here.
Yes.
Upon charter review commission consisting
Yes.
of 7 voters, at least every 5 years, which now is time to do it. Term of each charter review will be 6 months, and such commission review hearings holdings to make recommendations for the amendment, if any, of this charter. So they'll make recommendations to us. And so you're asking direction if you want us to do it the same way we did last time, or what are we directing staff?
We need direction I think we need, council needs to determine the date. Hold on, let me get back. So I had asked, okay, so pretty much council needs to determine a date for, the committee needs to be appointed this year. So we would treat it just like a P&Z. They have to fill out, the P&Z members, how they fill out the application. That's why there's an application in the backup. Submit it to my office. It has to go through the whole process. They'll come into executive session. They get interviewed. They get appointed just like for 6 months. So they get to set meetings first. It would be city manager, myself, and someone from legal that needs to be there as well. So my question to legal was, we needed to find out, they go ahead and get appointed today. I mean, within this year, but then the 6 months is going to extend into next year as well, because then that gives time to review with council and go, because then we would have to call, if any, a charter amendment in August of next year.
Well, we don't have to review with them. They can present to us, and then we can do our own stuff afterwards.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Because normally they review, but you guys still have like joint meetings. That's how we did it back in 5 years ago.
I'd rather them review and then give it to us, and then we take it from there. That way we don't have to do any extensions, and they can just bring us some recommendations, and we can not have to focus on that until they bring it to us.
Correct. That's how it's normally done. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they do their own meetings, and then towards the end, they present those to council for recommendations, and then it's moved forward.
Okay. I guess I didn't understand what you was asking or saying. So did you say we need an extension or something? Okay. I got confused on that.
Guidance is needed. Mayor, council members, Veronica Rivera, Assistant City Attorney. Direction is just needed to city staff on how you would like to them to bring you potential candidates, or just if you all have recommendations, so that then we can place this item back on the agenda on the 18th. That would then give the 6 months necessary by the end of the year, and then y'all can take action next year on those recommendations, so that they'll be ready in August for placement on a ballot.
So do y'all want to bring recommendations, a person each, or do you want to do an appointing process? That's correct, right? I mean, an interview process. Which one do y'all want to do? Bring a name or interview?
I would say interview process, because every person that I've asked to get on one of our boards or commission has not.
I agree, yeah.
One of the recommendations could be to look at who was in your charter review committee the last time around, to see if they may be interested in participating again.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
I'm good with that.
No?
No, thank you.
Yeah. No, we yeah.
I was there. No,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or as Yuvia stated, then she can look at what applicants or.
Well, so my question is,
Yes.
since we're giving direction, is there can there be a mixture? Can all can the unappointed 7 be selected from interview? So if I don't want to pick nobody, if I want to pick someone, can my name come forward, and then Councilwoman Amesqua, she says, well, I don't want to pick nobody, so her seat then be up for randomization?
Yes, it can be a combination of. It's just that we would like for you to be able to appoint at your next meeting.
Okay, so either bring a name for appoint.
Sure. Right.
Okay.
So city staff is just saying that if you're bringing a nominee, make sure that they submit their application to the city secretary.
Okay. Well, so if we will between now and 18 enough time to publicize to get people to show up on 18th? Yeah.
Then appointment by the July 2nd. That way they can start.
Okay. All right. Spread the word. So
would you like for us to put it on social media? Because normally when we advertise for boards, it's posted on our social media that it's open.
Spread the
and,
word. And like I said, when we have
and we blast it, and we
so
can
we
go
bring,
ahead and
because if you post it on there, someone we know may reach out and be like, hey, I might want to do that. And so at that point in time, it can be the appointment with the application.
we'll get it
or
out
can just be-
tomorrow, and then I mean, might as well go do all the other or it's always open for PNZ, and then especially BOA because we don't have any right now.
Yeah. The issue is what happens if on the July the 2nd, we have 50 applications? We need
Well,
a
they have to
process.
go through. There's so say tomorrow I'll go ahead and publish that. We'll post it, and they have a deadline. So that's the reason I needed to know a date. June 18 is too soon. At least I need.
I'm just saying, even if, is there a screening process? Because I know there's a confirming that they live here process and all that stuff. But if after they actually qualify and they turn in complete applications, what happens if there's 50 or 60 or 100? It's not, we haven't had that, but what happens if that can, or is there anything in the charter that precludes us from being able to screen the number of applications down so that we can interview?
No, there's not. So I receive the application. It has to make sure they live in the city limits. They're a registered voter. They have lived in the city 6 months.
So what's the legal language about us appointing members to the charter review? What does our charter say? Council will appoint a charter review commission.
It's quoted on the summary form. The quotes, that's exactly what it reads on the charter.
So we have to appoint. So if we do applications, then, well, so technically we can create a process to screen. Right? Since the language only says we appoint, we can create our own process of how we're going to screen down the applications down to the people that we're going to appoint.
You can say, hey, you're only going to receive so many. Yes, you can. I mean, I don't see us getting 50 applications, but okay.
No, I don't think we will, but but worst case scenario, because we also have garnered in the last few, especially this last political season, we've garnered a lot of folks that have gained interest in what we're doing on social media. And so when people understand what the charter is, it could garner a lot of support for people that want to participate in changing the rules for the city. So it's very possible. And then if we don't have a process in place or agree to that, where we will screen applications and only interview certain things, then what will happen is you're like, well, we did have a lot of people, and then we'll be here.
So what kind of process are you looking for? Because we currently have the process, the regular, how we normally appoint for the PNZ. So normally all the boards that we have, it's listed on the application.
When would you set the deadline for turning applications? Well, what I'm saying is, if depending on the deadline, if the applications go above a certain threshold, then I think council should be made aware, so a representative of the team can screen down to a more palatable number for the July 2nd meeting.
To July 16.
16.
The second meeting in July is July 16.
Okay.
But no, the deadline was. Now, do you want July 16 to have the interviews and appoint on that day?
Yeah.
Okay. So agenda due dates are, it's 2 weeks in advance with your summary form. So probably, we normally we leave it open a month, 30 days.
Okay. So let's close it June. Let's close it before June. So we have time to screen out.
So June 30th.
Mm-hmm. And then if it's above 10 applications, we screen down to 10.
Okay. So on the applications, they have to submit. I mean,
how
it
many
pretty
would
much.
you all like to be interviewing on the 16th? This is also assuming there's no appointees, because if we get 10 applications and 4 of them are appointees, then.
And we can do interviews on the 2nd as well, and then you can do more on the 16th. You don't have to do all executive interviews on the 16th, because if I have on the 30th, I think it's going to give me time to screen them and be able to get them. I mean, it doesn't take long to screen, and we can put them. Just for interviews.
Oh,
on the
which
2nd.
I want to have 2 days.
On the 2nd,
if
if we have a bunch, then half of them will be interviewed in the first meeting in July.
I think so. If we put the protocol in to screen before the meeting's down to 10, are y'all fine with interviewing 10 on one day? And is there who in here is for sure definitely not going to appoint someone? One? You changing your mind now?
Yeah, they're just council's giving us direction.
Okay, so I would say post now, end on the 30th. If we have more than 10, who wants to screen? Screen? Okay, so the 3, 4, no, if we have 4, it's a quorum. Okay. So
what?
Hill, Moreno, and Harvey screen down to 10. That way we have all of y'all that are unsure, you have until after the 30th to attempt to find someone and make sure they apply. Well, you have until the 30th to attempt to find someone to have them apply, because after the 30th, it's just going to be random people. No, I don't mean random people like that, but it would be people that have taken interest in the community.
So so Councilman Moreno, Deja Hill, and who else?
Me.
And you want to screen
Mm-hmm.
the applications that I receive, forward them to you
If
guys?
it's more than 10.
If it's more than 10.
Yeah, June 30th is more than 10. We'll screen down.
You don't
want
to screen all of them as they come in?
Mm-mm.
I mean, that's because I'm just going to push them down over. I'm sending them over if they are ready to go. And
Yeah, no.
and then from that, okay, so you'll.
Yeah, if you have.
If they qualify, and then you do the screen. Okay.
Yeah.
How long is it going to take for you guys to? I mean, if we're trying to.
30 minutes.
Okay.
Hour max. 30 minutes.
Okay, so deadline will be on the 30th, and we'll see what we get. If I get more than 10, regardless, I'm gonna make sure they're qualified, and if I get more than 10, I'll forward them to the committee.
Yeah,
And we'll call it a committee.
we'll come in and look at them, screen down to 10, and then they'll be the ones that we interview. Cause like
On the second, okay.
yeah,
I see
but
what
I'm
you're
sure
saying.
like I think we'll probably at least have 3 or 4 that'll be appointees.
And I think that's 7 members for the charter.
Good.
Yes.
All right.
So that just once they get appointed, then I guess meetings will start with them. I mean, it's pretty much going to go fast. So depending, the holidays are already, around the corner. So
But they're gonna
we'll
do
figure out the
one meeting
schedule.
a month.
I'm not sure. They're the ones that would set the meetings, depending on how active they are.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we don't want them to be too active that they obligate us into a lot of debt and overtime. So I think we might want to make sure that we have some parameters around that, so we're not doing 20, 30 meetings a month. So yeah, but we probably want to give some guidelines on that. So no more than 8 meetings. You want them to have more? Oh. Huh?
Mayor, council members, for the committee that's appointed, it does consist of 7 qualified voters. It's for 6 months, and the commission, their duties are to review, hold hearings upon, and make recommendations for amendments, if any. It is silent on how often they meet, so you can definitely provide parameters if you would like.
Thank you much. How many times would y'all want them to meet? So the hearings they do on the public hearings? Huh?
No, it's just hearings.
Where they meet
Meetings.
and make recommendations.
Right, they do.
Okay. How many times y'all want them to meet in 6 months? 6 times? All right. We can do it later, but I think
Yes.
y'all want to do 6. All right, there we go. 6 times.
Okay. They provide direction.
However y'all choose to do it, no more than 6 in 6 months. And then if you got to do it longer, I think you just come back and let us know. All right. Moving on to number 22. Consider discussion, and we're going to actually need a motion to postpone this one indefinitely.
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we postpone item number 22.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilmember Moreno. Is that a second?
A second.
Second by Councilmember Mesmer. Any questions to the motion? No questions to the motion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Is that all of them? Meeting adjourned at 11:58 p.m.